put some fucking pants on and go outside and do some shit.
Nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
Girl, there is nothing to do.
The Sandhills wants to know what time it is. It's time to get ready for the unlimited social scoop. Introducing Nothing to Do, the Sandhills Social Scene Podcast, straight from the Share Studios with your host, Dominique.
Hey guys, it is the Nothing to Do Podcast, episode 22, with your host, me, and producer Brian back there, giving me a little knowledge on some things. You know, he keeps me grounded in the sports world, and, you know, maybe one day he'll get on to talk about one of the sports teams that we have here, like, for instance, the Hope Mills Rockfish baseball team, right? And also Woodpeckers are back for a homestand, so make sure to go check them out. Yo, Brian, they've got this dope jersey. It's the Black Ops jersey. It is kind of like the zip, what do you call that? Half zip, whatever. And yeah, I look good in it. So you guys should make sure to stand in line on Saturday for one of those. We got fireworks on Friday. And I mean, Bunker's just lit. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Thursday. Well, hopefully this drops before the game. Brian's going to be working diligently to get it to drop when he can. So if you see this, Teachers Appreciation, what other way to appreciate our teachers than to give them a night where there's drink specials? Brilliant, Segra. Brilliant, Michelle Skinner, Pete, all of you guys. Brilliant. Because being a teacher... yeah, buddy, we needed those drink specials. So I forgot to say we're at the Share Studios, and it's brought to you by Cumulus Media Group, Rock 103. Catch me on Sundays from 9 to 2, Q98, Magic 106.9, and 6:40 a.m. with our new host, Jennifer Jones Rochelle. Make sure to check out those stations and go on your little social medias and click your like buttons. And if you haven't liked Nothing to Do yet, click your like buttons. If you haven't liked the Share Studios, you get it. Click the like buttons. So a recap of this weekend. It was 4th Friday Nerd Market. And I learned what kawaii is, which basically means cute. And I dressed up as an anime character. And they had so many vendors that deal with the comic book anime realm, and a lot of other vendors that are there each 4th Friday, like M&M digging. I love it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google them, have them at your next party, because who would have thought that a whole bunch of kids will have so much fun digging around in dirt? There was a lot of different talent. There was a keyboard and a celloist out there just jamming. There were the Hawaiian dancers doing their things. And I will tell you, my hips do lie, so I could not do the things that they did with those grass skirts. But it was a bang out time. It was amazing to see all the kids in costume. G Money was out there DJing. It's always a pleasure to work with G Money. There is some DJs in this town. Actually, I'm going to reverse that. I can't name one DJ in this town that I haven't worked with, that I would never work with again. So G Money, D-Rock, Yodo, DJ Epic, I never worked with you. Well, yeah, technically I did. I was bartending while you were spinning. But look, those guys are so phenomenal. So there's always a party when they're around. They're also opened up the Public Works exhibit at the Arts Council, which if you get a chance, go out and check out all the beautiful artwork. And also in the side room, there is an artist by the name of Michelle, and she is just phenomenal. So if you're looking for a place to just go and just forget about things, I'm going to say it again, and I can't preach this enough. Go to the Arts Council, get lost in their artwork. And they're also doing a kind of like a viewer's choice where you guys get to vote on your favorite artwork. Now, I understand that I will be going up against the likes of Lauren Falls, Adrian Trago, Damian Mathis. But, you know, like, if you just want to just slide me in there and just write honorable mention, go ahead. But if not, it's just a pleasure to be around so many artists around town that just want you guys to see their artwork. If someone shares their artwork with you, it's kind of like the equivalent of a child showing you their boo-boo on their finger. They're letting you into an intimate space. So just as nerve-wracking as it is for us, we want it to be something that you guys can enjoy as well. So that exhibit will be going on for a little minute. I'll find the flyer. I'm not exactly going to know. I don't really know exactly when it's going to end, but I just know when they call me to come pick up my artwork, I shall do so. So make sure to go check that out. That dropped this weekend as well. Also going back to the Hope Mills Rockfish, they'll be playing at Hope Mills Rec. So check out their schedule, check out their jerseys. I think their jerseys are so dope. Like they're just, I was explaining to Brian that I kind of like that Miami bright color deco kind of thing. And they've got like this beautiful, I guess you can call it like a light coral jersey. And it just looks really good on my skin too. I'm sorry, guys. I'm feeling myself today, so I'm a little vain. Excuse me. Shut up, Brian. Also, this weekend, Uncle Carl threw his Memorial Barbecue Bash, where y'all know if one thing Uncle Carl's going to do, it's going to get on a grill somewhere and it's going to be feed the people. So check him out. I bet the food was delicious. I, on the other hand, had to go to Chapel Hill because my uncle just got released from the hospital. Little kidney issue, transplant issue. So please, please, please keep my uncle in your prayers and like keep each other in our prayers because you never know what we're all going through. We tend to act like everything's okay. And speaking of acting, today on this episode, I have one of the lead roles of Sister Act that's playing at Cape Regional Theater and Ashley joining us. And when I tell you it was a pleasure to interview those ladies, energy was high. And I cannot imagine how high the energy is going to be as we see them on stage. So go ahead and get your tickets because they extended it. So you know what that means. It's probably going to sell out soon. So you have Woodpeckers, Cape Regional Theater. Actually, there's multiple things going to Cape Regional Theater. Whatever. I digress. It's a manic day. Forgive me. Let's just go ahead and jump into this segment where I interview them from the Cape Regional Theater for Sister Act. And thank you guys for joining and supporting because, you know, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rep what there is to do in town because there's something to do in this nothing to do town. Stay tuned. All right, so in this segment of the Nuthin To Do Podcast, episode 22, we're going to focus on something that I actually didn't think that I could do until one of our previous guests, Mikey with the Yellow Beanie Project, pulled me on stage and gave me a script and told me to say something. So I have always taken my hat off for people that can remember things because sometimes, you know, I can't even remember to spell my own name. But one of my favorite places, and it was John Kistler, who's like a brother to me, who took me there numerous amounts of times when we were like in our late teens, early 20s. And I got to meet this amazing woman by the name of Bo Thorpe. And I didn't really understand how into theater John was. I just did it because it was something to do and to get out of the house. Hence everyone saying there's nothing to do. But Cape Fear Regional Theater has been around for a very long time. And if you haven't gotten to see like the Dream Girls or Michael Thrash and Three Musketeers, yeah, I'm gonna bring that up every time, Michael Thrash. Sorry, homie, it's gonna happen. And I know you still have that costume. If you haven't gotten to see that, or if you haven't gotten to see The Little Mermaid, like, or Best Christmas Pageant ever, like every year it's banger after banger after banger. And this year, one of the dopest shows always takes me back to my childhood, and which was probably the last time Lauryn Hill was on time for anything, Sister Act. And so I am being joined with one of our actresses, and then we have Ashley from Cape Regional Theater. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm so excited to learn about the people behind the stage. So you're not from here.
No, I live in the New York area.
Okay.
I have known Mary Kate and Ella Wren for years.
Uh-huh.
So I've known those two amazing women for a very long time. And I've known Ashley for a few years now. And so when they called me to do this, I was like, oh, I'm there. But most of my career has happened, I've done a ton of regional theater. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So so I'm, accustomed to the South and the heat and the humidity.
The humidity is bananas.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Oklahoma doing theater since I was about 10.
Okay.
I was cast as Annie at like the big theater in Oklahoma. I grew up with a single mom and a sister, and my, fifth grade public elementary school music teacher called my mom at home and said, I think Danette sings really well and needs to audition for Annie. And my mom, I remember, back then the phones were on the wall.
Yes.
Because I'm old. And I remember my mom putting her hand over the, receiver and saying, Danette, you sing? That's like the story. And I tell it all the time. And I was like, well, my teacher says I'm real good. And then I went and auditioned. And when I auditioned, I remember there being like, all of these little girls with moms like doing their hair and like putting makeup on. My mom dropped me off. Yeah. She didn't know. She dropped me off at the door. And I remember the director saying, Danette, honey, where's your mom? And I was like, she went to get a steak sandwich, but she's going to come back. I mean, I had no idea. So I'm sure they just saw, oh God, she doesn't have a stage mom. I pick her. Yeah. So from then on, I was just sort of like a theater kid. Okay. And then I've done like, my career has been tons of regional theater. For the longest time, I was known as the regional theater queen because I would go out and do all these roles regionally. I did several shows at North Carolina Theater in my early days. And then I've done national tours and I've done some Broadway shows. The last Broadway show I did was Annie, the last revival of Annie. And I got to sort of stand by or cover Miss Hannigan and all the women in that show, which was a great, great show. And I was the original fairy godmother in Shrek, the musical on Broadway. So yeah, so I've just, been doing it. And then I sort of backed out. I have kids. And so I sort of, about 5 years ago, I sort of like stepped back, and then the pandemic happened. And then Ella called and texted me and said, we want you to come and do Sister Act. And I was like, gosh, I haven't done it in so long, but okay. And so it has been an absolute joy.
So it's like riding a bike?
Yeah, to a degree.
Okay.
You definitely have to build back up your stamina vocally, and acting is riding a bike. Like acting is like you've done, and dancing you have to build up back up. Although I don't dance in this show really, but just a little bit. But I grew up dancing. I was like a very competitive dancer growing up. So that part is a bit like riding a bike, except you sometimes when you're old, you can't get your body to do it.
No.
Sometimes it won't work. It won't work the same way.
It makes more noises.
It does. Oh God. And then when you finish trying something, you're like, oh, a lot of noises happen.
Yes. It's kind of like that episode of Fresh Prince where Aunt Viv goes and does the little
famous
dance.
Yes.
And then like she gets outside and she's like falling on the ground.
Yes.
That's kind of how it was.
Yes.
But it's so iconic. It's so iconic.
It's so true. Just ow.
Yes.
Everything hurts.
Yeah, absolutely. Epsom salt baths are my favorite.
Yeah.
So what brings you into like what's your backstory, Ash?
So I'm from Fayetteville. I grew up here, and I grew up going to see shows at CFRT with my grandma. That was like the thing that we did together. I know. And so I always loved theater. I never did theater. I grew up playing a lot of sports. Like every season I had like something else that I was doing, and I was really academically focused. So like it just never kind of really even crossed my mind that theater was something that you could do as a grown-up and like as a real career.
Right.
And then I went to college. I went to UNC Chapel Hill, and I was going to be a doctor, and that's what I was going to do. And I got there and I was like, no, this is not for me.
You said how many science and math classes?
No, truly. And I like shadowed. I wanted to be a pediatrician. I shadowed a pediatrician, and I got in my car, like wept in the parking lot for like an hour afterwards because I was like, that's terrible. I don't want to do that. Like, why would I go to school for 10 plus years to then spend my career doing that all day? And then I had a full blown, what else would I do? From the time I was like in 6th grade, I was like, I'm going to go to Carolina and I'm going to be a doctor.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's what I was going to do. And everyone that knew me knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so my first semester of college was a huge, like the universe being like, that's not for you. This is not your path. And then I was miserable. And second semester, it came time to sign up for classes. And my friend was like, take this theater class with me. You're going to love it.
Stop it.
It's going to be such like an easy break in your schedule. And I fell in love with it. My professor for the first class that I took was in a show at Playmakers that semester. So I went from class, saw her on stage. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, you can like have a life and a career and like in theater, and like that's something that like people do and people are very successful at. And then it took me another 1.5 years to realize that that is what I really wanted to do. And so I walked out of my last final, my sophomore year, and I went to my science advisor and I was like, hey, it's me. I'm changing my major from biology and chemistry to theater, and my minor is going to be film.
Nice.
And he was like, all right, you have a new advisor now. I was like, okay. And so I really focused really hard my last 2 years at school because I felt like everyone there had grown up as a theater kid and I didn't know anything. And so I told my professors, I was like, I want to leave here. Like, I have to play catch up. Like, I have a lifetime of catch up to do. So I want you to teach me everything that you could possibly teach me. And I was really lucky that the department at Carolina is really, really fantastic and really took me under their wing, everybody there. And I started working at CFRT as the company manager 4 months after I graduated from college. And that was 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago. Yeah.
Nice. See, at East Carolina, I had a very similar conversation with my advisor. Well, he was more the dean of students, or he said, well, Matt, get the hell out of my school. You're going back into radio. And so I wanted to do everything other than what allegedly I was good at.
What you were like meant to do.
Absolutely.
But you find your way.
Yes.
The universe provides.
Honey.
And you just
that
find
was
your way there.
A little 20-something years ago. And now I find myself, I left for a long time and I've been back for 3 years. So,
And you love it.
like, those professors kind of know what they're talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Shout out Dave.
So what high school did you go to?
I went to Grace Creek High School.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So that means you're the youngest person in this room. That's cool. Brian?
Listen.
Sorry. Sorry.
We joke at our dressing room, the two other older women, we're the older women. We joke that it's the AARP dressing room. But I will tell you what, it's the most fun dressing room there.
I bet.
Those kids ain't got nothing on us.
Nothing.
We are having a good time up in there.
Yeah, we had Coach Nance at Douglasburg
Yes.
for a very, very long time. And Jody. She
Yes.
was my cheerleading coach, her and Jane Field.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh my
like-
God. My
Look at
mom.
you, cheerleader. I'm a cheerleader too, but oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
No, I love it when people leave town and come back, especially because, again, in order for Fayetteville to build up to be those bigger cities like everyone wants us to be, we have to come back home.
Yep.
We've got to do something here.
Yep.
There's something to do. So you guys are now working on Sister Act and you're about to wrap that up. Tell me,
Yes.
what can people expect when they come to the show?
Fun.
Fun.
Just like 2.5 hours from start to finish. Fun and joy and laughter
Yeah.
and like incomparable talent.
Yeah.
Is what I think is what I would say.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you this. The cutest story. I'm leaving the theater after the show, and I see this young couple. They're in their 20s, and she's got flowers in her hand. He obviously got her flowers and took her to the theater, and it was their second date. I found out it was their second date. She said it's the best date she's ever been on in her entire life, and that we made her make a crack on her face. We were so funny.
Oh, nice.
And the guy was just beaming. He was so proud of himself for having come up with this idea to go to the theater. And I am always astonished by sometimes people who don't often frequent live theater, how much it affects them, how much they feel, and that gift that live theater is, and how different it is every show. It's never dull. It's always slightly different. But watching, I was like, I think they'll get married.
Aww.
Like, it was their second date, but that she literally was like, gold star. It's the best date I've ever been on in my life. And they were just both so happy. They wouldn't leave the parking lot. It was the cutest. I mean, I was driving out. I changed out of my costume. I was like driving out. I rolled my window down. I was like, are you guys looking for someone? This was the greatest show ever. It was so funny. I can't stop laughing. And I just thought, oh my God, the gift of live theater. Yeah, you will have there's no way to not leave that theater feeling joy. It's not possible.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite moments? Without giving, everybody knows how the story goes, but without giving away everything, what is like some of your favorite moments that you've had on stage or seen on stage?
For seen on stage for this one, it changes every day.
Okay.
And over the next couple of days on our social media, I'm posting like my favorite moments because I think they deserve to see the light of day. But I think my favorite thing about this show is there are so many innuendos in the jokes, and you hear them, but sometimes it takes you a minute to hear them. Like, I've seen the show of the 20 plus shows that we've done so far, I've seen at least like 15. And 2 nights ago, I heard a line that I had never heard before and like clocked. And then I just kind of melted in the back of the house because I was laughing so hard and it was so inappropriate. But it's so funny and the jokes are so well written. And the singing is just like
off
unreal.
The charts, but yes. Yeah, the woman playing the lead role, Alexis Tidwell, is she's just gifted. And she is the most beautiful human being as well. And so you cannot help but fall in love with her, like as a person, and as if you're watching her on stage, you'll fall in love with her performance. But knowing her off stage, I'm like, oh, that's why, because you're the same person off stage that you are on stage. And so she's just, and the guy playing Sweaty Eddie is a talent. I'm gonna tell you right now, I called my agent. I was like, you want to sign this kid, because
like that.
This kid, it's like that.
Like that.
Yep.
Nice.
It's like that.
But like that doesn't even, you have to see it to like really understand.
Yeah, there's no way for me to describe to you the gift.
Yeah.
Of
It's
this,
a gift
of this human.
And Josh was in Jelly's Last Jam last season. For those of you that saw Jelly's Last Jam, they played Jack the Bear, so Jelly's best friend. And that role has some insane vocal moments too. But in this show, in Sister Act, as soon as Josh starts to sing, it's like full body chills and you just like, you zone in. It's like a tunnel vision to them.
Yeah. Alexis and I have a scene right after their song, and we are upstairs, like up on this balcony, and we laugh every night. She literally is like, "End scene." Like she's like, and the show should end right there, because when I tell you, the audience is almost giving him a standing ovation. It's crazy.
And it's like the 5th number in the show.
Yeah.
Their 6th number.
Yeah, they're incredible. They're incredible.
Now, comedy and musicals, I feel, well, it's probably because those are like my favorite things to watch. But I feel like CFRT does that very, very well.
Yeah.
Like The Play That Goes Wrong was my second date with my boyfriend.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
And I was like, this is foreshadowing of our relationship. But like, you guys do comedy so well. Like,
Thank you.
How tough is it to do that type of role?
Comedy, just in general.
Or
For
comedy
me,
and musical.
I was born to do comedy. Like I hear the timing very clearly. I'm really, it's very one of my superpowers is comedy. I rarely miss a comic moment, and if I do, I'll get it some other way. Like I'm just like I can't. I love comedy. So for a lot of us, you can learn, it's a skill set for sure. You can learn timing of comedy, and you can learn cadence, and you can learn that you end the line up, and you can learn, you say it dry, you can learn those things. But many of us, it's just like an intrinsic thing. Like my defense mechanism is louder, faster, funnier. I'm always going to be like the funniest one. I'm always going to be like the one like
go on a shirt.
Yeah, it's like my thing. The other shirt I'm going to have is keep your expectations low. And then on the back, it's going to say you might get surprised.
Nice. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. I feel like for marriage, for in all things,
Jobs.
keep those expectations low. That way you're never disappointed, but you might get surprised. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That needs to be on a mug.
I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's really good.
I'm not gonna
that's
move
true.
the side of the mug so they said you might get surprised. I'm drinking my chai tea with a little cream in it. Keep your expectations low.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, comedy is hard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people take it for granted. But when comedy is supposed to be funny and it's not, there is nothing worse, which is we at the theater, anytime something is a comedy, we talk about it a lot. Like Mary Kate and I will spend a lot of time going through like, okay, who could direct this? Who's funny? Like who, you know what I mean? Because while technicalities of comedy can be taught, I don't think somebody can be taught to be funny. Like you're either funny or you're not funny. And so we talk about it a lot. So in this role, specifically with like Mother Superior, who is in charge of the convent in the show, we were like, okay, she's a serious lady in the show, but she's funny and she has to be able to sing and do all of the stuff. And so we were like, who in the world do we know that is just that person? And so we had multiple rounds of auditions and it wasn't right. And then Mary Kate was like, Danette. And I was like, Danette. And we did a lot of reeling in. And then we got her, and your audition was like, what, 10 minutes?
Yes.
Audition?
Yes. Yeah. I had a Zoom. So I had a Zoom call with the director, West, because he didn't know me at all. Like hadn't seen me. So I had sent like me singing Little Girls from Annie when I was doing it on Broadway. And he was like, I mean, Miss Hannigan is such a broad, funny character. I just like, do you mind like just reading this? So, because Mother Superior is incredibly efficient with her words, her movement, her persona. She's efficient, but man, the zingers come. That she's funny. And I was like, oh, sure, no problem. And I read one scene. Ashley read with me for it on the Zoom call, and he was like, okay, then. That's it. And I was like, do you need it to give me any adjustments? He was like, no. So it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, that was just the right fit.
It was the right fit.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to find those right fits, because again, if you're like trying to do a comedy and it's not funny, you did not succeed. And so anytime there's something like that at the theaters, like there's been a lot of thought and effort put into who's creating that show and then who is on the stage.
So what you're saying is theater is really, really hard. It's not as easy as we may think it is. I'm telling you, Yellow Beanie, I thought I was going to be a star, and then I opened it up and saw words. How do you remember things?
Oh my gosh.
Give me your secrets.
Well, hilariously, I remember, and I forget my lines all the time, but I'm really good at getting out of Ashley's laughing because she's been in so many of the shows and she's like, that's not the line. And
but you cover it so well.
Ashley
and
said,
so
Alexis said to me one day, I was having the scene with Alexis and I sang a lyric that was so not the lyric. And she literally, I watched her face go, like, she looked at me like, how are you going to fix this? And then she said we got off stage, she was like, and then I thought to myself, well, if anyone can get out of it, it'll be you. I am a mastermind of getting out of trouble. So when you ask, how do I memorize? I mean, maybe I don't. Maybe I get the gist.
So as being the superstar, what would you tell people that are looking to get into theater?
Oh, I have lots of things to tell young people. It's my favorite thing to do, is to tell young people. First of all, there are going to be a lot of people that can do what you do, but there will never be anyone who is you. So when I come into an audition and I look down the row and there are, 50-year-old brunettes who look like all-American, regular middle-aged woman, and I think to myself, and I look down the row and I'm like, oh, they can all sing, dance, act, do comedy, do drama, they can do anything. And then I remember that what sets me apart is Danette. That's it. And so Dominique, what sets Dominique apart from another person doing what you do is you. They're coming to see you, or they want you in their show. And also, much like you guys, you can change your mind at any time. You can change your mind at any time.
Yes.
You really can. In any direction you want to go in your life.
Can you just move to Fayetteville?
Yes. I was laughing. I have such a connection to Fayetteville. It's so crazy. And I actually love it here. We can be best friends, totally. Done. Yeah, no, I did the Bridgerton project for them a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, I love this town. This little town is adorable. What they're doing. And I got to meet Bo as well at the Bridgerton thing, which was a big, huge thing. And I remember at that time we were just coming out of the pandemic, and those folks in the audience were starved for live theater, entertainment. And that piece was such a beautiful moment in time. It sounds so cliche, but they needed it. They needed it. They needed that entertainment. And it was only happening at Cape Fear Regional Theater because I joke that this group of women should LLC themselves as a consulting firm and they should go to other regional theaters because they just are figuring it out. And I know it's trial by fire, but they're somehow making it through the fire and with grace, with kindness, with generosity. And I just find that the way that they're involving the community, the children of the community, the outreach, the education, the school kids coming to the 10 a.m. shows that they added on a Wednesday and a Thursday. And I will tell you what, every cast member was here for it. We were here for it. Yeah. We couldn't wait to show those kids what we do and to invest in their future and their love and joy of live theater. So I will say, you have a very special theater here, and your town should know that. I hope that just like that couple, that sweet man who took his second date to the show, I'm sure he was like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And it was the perfect thing to do. But I think this theater is like a huge part of this community.
Absolutely. And for you, I was going to kind of draw back, like, what would you say to those who haven't given Cape Fear Regional Theater a try yet? Like, we need to bring them in. I mean, not like y'all aren't selling out shows left and right. Like, let's talk about that. Like, y'all have extended how many shows this season?
All of them. all of them, which is crazy. You know, like, American Theater Magazine is the one of the largest publications for the industry. And weekly, you hear about this theater's closing, this theater filed for bankruptcy, all of this stuff, and audiences are down by 30 to 50%. And like, we're just kind of like, we're doing really good. Like we're having fun.
Right.
And so like, we're kind of the anomaly at the moment, which is crazy and remarkable. And kind of is just a testament to how much this community loves the theater. And I think if you grew up in Fayetteville, inevitably you've probably seen the best Christmas pageant ever. Like, I vividly remember going on my kindergarten field trip. I remember where I sat. I remember the way the incense smelled. Like, I remember so many things about it. And so, like Danette said, we do the student matinees so that we can get the next generation of theater goers in early, because it is, I think, 50% of adults that go to the theater, someone took them as a child. So that's like so important to us, is the education outreach that we do. But I don't know, if you don't, just come and see a show. It's not exclusive by any means. Right. It's a very affordable ticket. Our highest ticket price for a musical is $37. And it's just, and I don't know if it's because I have such an intimate and special relationship with the building, but when you walk in, you feel the energy and like, it just feels special. And I think that everyone should experience the way that feels, because it's not really like any other place I've ever been to, or I was going to say worked at. This is the only place that I've worked at as a grown up, but it's just special. It's just special.
So what do you guys have, like, as far as summer programs, summer camps? Like, what do y'all have going on this summer?
Summer camp starts on Monday.
Nice.
We do
no break.
No break.
I was like, holy cow, you guys start Monday. You better be running.
Yeah. No, it's going to be crazy. We do 6, 7, 8, 9. We do 10 sessions of summer camp between June 3rd and like August 15th. And that's everywhere. We have camps for ages 6 to 9. This summer, they're doing 101 Dalmatians. Our 10 to 14-year-olds are doing Legally Blonde, the musical. And our teens are doing Our Town. So the teen program, we treat them like professionals. So we call it a summer stock, which is a kind of a theater term for theaters that operate in the summer. So they come from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, and they rehearse a show for 4 weeks, kind of in the same way that we do a main stage. And they perform it, and they work with professionals, and it's a really great on-ramp for teens who are like thinking the arts might be something that they want to go into. And so, yeah, our camps are sold out. Nice. Our camps sold out before I sent the first email about it, which was, it was like totally crazy. Our wait list for each session of camp is like 20 to 30 kids deep. which again is just like a testament to how much people love the theater and like how hungry kids are for that interaction and that experience. So yeah, that's what we're doing this summer. And we're gearing up for our renovation, which is about to happen. This fall, we'll start demolition on our current building. And later this year, early next year is when they'll start the construction.
Okay. I feel like this is a money thing for you guys. This is a fundraiser. You should get all the nonprofit people in Fayetteville and have them pay $20 to go in there with a sledgehammer. I mean, it's free game. It's free game. You can have it. And you can just turn the demo into a rec room.
Heck yeah.
That's so cute.
I love that.
I love that.
And then we can talk to Johanna from Downtown Market to do your charcuterie table.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Just think about it. And
let's talk about it. Because when we did the renovation of the inside of the auditorium, we had, when everything was stripped, like walls were stripped, there was no drywall, there was no carpet. People came in and signed the walls and the floors. And so underneath all of the seating in the theater is all like hundreds of signatures of people and like messages and stuff like that, which is really special. But yeah, we could 100%.
I mean, and it's money. We can give it to your favorite charity. I mean, if you want to give it a Kids Piece, I'm doing a lot of plugs. You know, we're here for it. Just let me know.
Amen. Amen. We'll talk about it. 100%.
Yes.
I'll pitch it.
So a lot of men in Fayetteville are a little upset with Cape Fear Regional Theater because of the Cinderella proposal. You know what I'm talking about. Jamie Ammons proposed to his fiance on the Cinderella set
with the rose petal drop.
I have to give him credit where credit is due, because he ruined a lot of
goodness.
relationships doing that, because it's perfect. You can't.
Oh,
beat
you
it.
can't. You'll never beat it.
It was perfect. I got to photograph and do the video stuff, so I was there. It was very magical. Yeah, no, it's unbeatable.
Yeah, it's unbeatable.
It's unbeatable.
So we have to lure them back in with comedy, and we have a couple more days before Sister Act.
Come on over, propose to someone over to Sister Act.
Did you hear that?
Let's just forget about Jamie. We love him, but let's just forget about him doing all those things, because we know you're not going to get a stage and not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But
We got a balcony.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. We can make it work for
Romeo and
you.
Juliet. I'll help you. Call me.
We do have a Mylar drop for this show. It's not rose petals, but it is confetti that falls at the end. So we could call me. We'll get you really set up for a great proposal.
So have you guys sold out the weekend yet?
We are not totally sold out for the weekend. We still have some space. We're pretty much full for tonight, pretty much full for tomorrow night. But we have room 7:30 on Friday night, 2:00 and 7:30 on Saturday. And then we close Sunday at 2:00. And we have room for all of those.
Perfect. So you guys go to CFRT.org.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And get your tickets and check out all the cool things we have going on. Because I'm part of the team. Fundraising team. Yes, they have going on, because, I mean, y'all are doing amazing work in the community. You're giving me all types of hope and positivity.
See?
And I'm pretty sure when I see it come across the stage, I'm going to be crying and throwing rose petals at you. So this was episode 22 of the Nuthin To Do podcast. We talked about theater. There is no excuse, guys. If you haven't been already, go to Cape Fear Regional Theater, because they're putting out bangers after bangers after bangers. And we appreciate you guys. Until next segment. Bye. I love a good remix, and I'll be over here just remixing everything. Brian, can I go? Oh, okay, yeah. Wait, he's counting down, but it's too late. I'm already on a roll. Look, it is episode 22 of the Nuthin To Do podcast, and we are coming to an end. Totally want to thank Danette for coming on. High energy, lovely, lovely, lovely person. Ashley, I hope this isn't your last time on the show, because again, Cape Fear Regional Theater is a staple in this town. And although we can step out, I'm not saying don't step out to other cities, just saying give the events that we have going on around town a chance. Speaking of Cape Fear Regional Theater and events, the Detour Slam Poetry, that's going to be at Cape Fear Regional Theater on Saturday. Doors open at 7, show starts at 7:30 with none other than the poet El'Ja Bowens, and admission's only $10, guys. So if you're not doing anything, go check them out. These guys are going to a world competition slam World Slam competition. And we got to support them because they're representing Fayetteville. And no matter how much you guys say it, we all represent the Ville. And poetry is just another outlet for people to get their feelings out, whether it's putting on a mask on stage, singing a song on karaoke, or going out there and writing some words, some bars for the people. So if you got a chance, go out Saturday, June 1st, 7:30, Caper Regional Theater Studio. And yeah, pay your ticket, support them. Let's help them get to this competition, represent Fayetteville to the fullest, and not have to worry about a thing. All fundraisers are good. So I guess that's it, right? I don't have anything else, but I appreciate you guys. We're at the Share Studios. Did I say all that yet, Brian? Nope. Okay, we're at the Share Studios weekly. Thank you, Jimmy Keefe, for being kind of my daddy Warbucks and giving me a place. Cumulus Media Group for just allowing me to be employed. That's Rock 103. Catch me from 9 to 2 on Rock. Actually, if you haven't liked the page, if you haven't liked my Nuthin To Do page, go ahead and do that because these are all brought to you by Cumulus. Q98, Fireworks Friday. I know you guys like fireworks and baseball and beer. So going out to Segra. Magic 106.9, they do the family woodpecker sing on Sundays where your kids can run the bases. And you can also play catch with your kids in the field after the game. So check that out. News Talk 640, WFNC, which is where I got my radio career started here in Fayetteville. And yeah, so I'm just going to peace out because I have nothing to do tonight. Actually, I do. I just didn't commit to anything. So if you don't commit to anything, you can't let people down. So until next week, episode 22 of the Nuthin To Do podcast, here's something to do. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Nothing to Do weekly podcast, recorded at the Share Studios in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with your host, Dominique. And make sure to tune in next week because it's only going to get better.